Okay.
We're holding a Semicha Lamed Vav Sif Gimel. Says the Mechaber Mutter Leilach Agabi Asavim. You're allowed to walk on grass. Bein Lachem, Bein Yeveshin. Seif it is wet, Seif it is dry. Kivim She'einay Meschaven Litlosh. Since you don't have a mind to pull out the grass, so it's Einay Meschaven, even though you may end up pulling out some grass as you're walking. It's Einay Meschaven. Einay Meschaven is mutter, right? So it says the Magen Avraham over here. No Magen Avraham. It's the Taz. Also not. Okay, the reason is because it's Davar Einay Meschaven, and it's not a psik ratio.
It's in the Mechaber.
Huh?
It's in the Mechaber.
That's very wrong. That's a different case. In this case, it says Kivich Einay Meschaven, Litloish, it's mutter, and we pass it like Reb Shimon, that Davar Einay Meschaven is mutter. Yeah, and it's not a psik ratio. We have to say that over here it's not a psik ratio. And so here's a big tunnel in the Achreinim. And before we go back to the next part of the Seif is something else. So here the reason why it's mutter is because it's Einay Meschaven and it's not a psik ratio. So if you look at the Mishnah Berurah over here, Seif Kot Chav Hey, Mishnah Berurah says Kivich Einay Meschaven, says I am a bin halacha. Shekosavnu dehechi ta'asavim hem gedolim. When the grass is very big, very long, you have to be careful not to run on the grass. To have a psik ratio, sheyitlash. Then it's ready a psik ratio. They pull out grass. Bevadai. Not to run, even just to walk quickly on it. Also, you have to be careful. Why? Because then already it's a psik ratio that you're going to pull out grass. That's what the Mishnah Berurah says over here.
So walk slowly is okay?
To walk very slowly, you're careful that it's okay. If you walk quickly, you'll end up pulling out grass. So here is the big tumult of Achreinim. What does it mean over here? What does the Mishnah Berurah mean over here that when you're running or you're walking quickly on long grass, it's a situation that you pull out the grass? That means every time you step, you're going to pull out grass. You're doing it quickly. So the Bir Halacha has a Rikas over here. And Divrei Maschal Mutter. And he says at the end over here, all the way towards the end, a few lines from the end of the shtickle, there's a Mayri, Heifid, they have a psik ratio, if you're going to Hoylech b'Mehera, he's going quickly, V'rotza gabi asavim, V'asavim hem aruchim, De'oz bevadai I efsher shaloi yiyu netloshim. It's not possible that some of it won't be ripped out. So it's masha from the Mishnah Berurah over here, that it's not every time you walk, you're going to pull out a piece of grass.
It has to be long.
Has to be long grass and fast, but even then, even when it's long and fast, what does that mean? Every step you're taking, you're automatically for sure going to pull out a piece of grass. It's a big chiddush. Even if the grass is long, and even if you're running, it means every time you're going to take a step, you're going to pull out grass. So therefore, a lot of our friends want to learn over here that Pshan the Mishnah Berurah is, we spoke about this concept, the Endish and Chavches. Pshan the Mishnah Berurah is when you're running through the grass, you definitely, at some point, you're going to pull out grass. It doesn't mean every step you're going to pull out grass, but at some point, you're going to pull out grass. Now, we had spoken then in the end of Shin Chav Ches, Mishnah Berurah brings down over there, the end of Shin Chav Ches, right, the Mechaber says, they're not for a psila. We're talking about the suppository they put into the pia tabas, into the rectum when you had to help yourself go to the bathroom. So there, if you look at the Mishnah, Sif Kufnan Aleph, he says, Psila Asuya Mechele Baburis, Miniyar, B'Shad Dvarim, V'Tam Isurin, V'Shum De'ayri, the Mashmish Sham Kama Pa'omim, Lahachnis Ulahaiti. You're putting it in and out a few times in the Piyat Abbas. So Karav Levadai, Sheyashiv Haseyo, Sham. It's Karav Levadai. It's almost for sure that you'll put out.
But that's over the same
thing. It's almost for sure that you're going to pull out here. Now, what does it mean? Every time you stick it in, you're going to pull out here, or no? You're going to stick it in and out a few times, and then after those few times, you'll definitely have pulled out here. Masha from the Mishnah over there. And every time you stick it in, you pull out here. Collectively, you're for sure going to end up pulling out here. This is Masha from the Mishnah over there. So here's a big shiloh. Is that taka an issur psikresha? Because every stroke that I'm doing, it's not psikresha I'm going to pull out here. It's einim eschaven. Elamai, you can do 10 strokes. You end up pulling out here. So you look collectively at all 10 strokes. So a lot of Achayim want to say you never look at something collectively. If in each stroke it's not a psikresha, so it stays einim eschaven. So over here, you have a question. So you're running on the grass, and you're not going to pull out every single time. Collectively, you'll end up pulling out to shore. So why is that psikresha?
That would be the same thing if combing or brushing hair.
Right. So that's where it comes from. So what it comes from basically is when someone combs the hair, then everyone agrees that it's also the hard brush, because you're definitely going to end up pulling out here. Now the question is why? Why is that for sure? Also, the same thing. Not every time you comb, you're going to end up pulling out here. Sometimes you comb, you're not going to pull out here. But when you finish combing, collectively, you definitely have pulled out here.
So on one side you be accepted, and the other side.
Yes, that's a shiloh. So how do you look at it? Do you look at it collectively that the combing is also because you're definitely going to pull out here or not? Some are kind of want to say no, combing here is different. And here's a big shiloh what exactly the chiluk is. I was going to say over 2 svaros of the Achrayim, and I'm not going to pass my halacha-l'maisa. Some of the Achrayim want to say because when you're combing the hair, every time you stroke the comb, you're pulling out the hair more and more, and by the second or third stroke, the hair comes out. But it's not a collective thing. The first time nothing happened. The first time you're ready pushing it out. By the time it comes to the second or third time, it's out. So every stroke is doing something to that hair to get it out.
But the issur is not followed until you actually remove it. In other words,
right. But they say since the first and second or third time, it's helping out to pull it out. So then it's awesome. But running on grass,
one time,
right? where the blade that I'm pulling out is no shaykhs to the blade that ran on a second earlier. Therefore, you don't look at it collectively.
That's right.
Which is smart. What's a shikol chiddush? Because, first of all, in combing we don't see that every time you comb, you pull out the hair more.
No.
And then finally it comes out after the third stroke. It could be sometimes it pulls it out, sometimes it doesn't pull it out. According to this svara, what they're saying is that the first stroke and the second stroke are helping you to the third
definitely
stroke.
helping you out to dig it out.
It is? No, when you comb your hair, one stroke maybe pull out the hair. That hair that falls out by the third stroke, it doesn't mean it got loosened the first or the second stroke.
Right.
So that'll be a chiddush and see it. That's one shot.
Sorry, I'm not sure I understand. The 2 cases of the brushing of the hair and running, the halacha is the same in both.
No, that's what we're saying. That's what I want to say. I want to say that by stroking the hair, everyone agrees it's awesome. By running on grass, when it's a collective situation that after you run for a few steps, you automatically end up pulling out a piece of grass, a lot of our friends say it's mutter. We don't say that it's mutter.
Not on the Mishnah Berurah.
Even the Mishnah Berurah, it's not clear in the Mishnah Berurah that he says that he means collectively. It could be he means that every time you're running, you're definitely going to pull out a piece of grass. Even in the case of the Mishnah Berurah, it doesn't say that by the time you finish, if you sure pulled it out. It is not possible that you won't pull out grass. some kind of want to say what he means is that every single step I'm going to pull out a blade of grass. Right? I don't know if I was clear enough on that.
Right.
It's a machlekes in the Mishnah Berurah itself.
Is not on the
right. The machlekes in the Mishnah Berurah itself. What did he mean? Did he mean that every time you take a step, you're definitely going to pull out grass? That's what it's a situation it's also? Or did he mean that no, collectively you'll end up pulling out a blade of grass, and therefore it's also? So the person that say he did not mean collectively, he meant that only every single time you're going to walk, if you're sure going to pull out a blade of grass, they hold collectively is mutter. Why is combing different? That's what we're trying to explain. Well, everyone agrees combing is awesome. So why is combing different? So one story we just said was because the combing is every stroke helps to get it out. There's a chiddush and
I cannot say that, but the grass.
The master can't say that, right? That's why it's different. And another svara they say, which is this is more, I think, understandable svara, is that by combing your hair, you have to end up doing a certain thing. You can't leave your hair partially combed. Combing the hair, you don't look at one stroke as my act. I look at it as I'm combing my hair, so it has to be fully combed. If I'm combing partially, I didn't do my job. So then we look at it collectively. We look at it that the combing of the hair, the 5 strokes till you get your hair straight, that's called one maisa. And if within those 5 strokes you definitely pull out the hair, then it's an issue of situation. But by running on the grass, they want to say that running on the grass, not every step is I need all 5 steps. You don't need
step number.
But the question is, I want to get from point A to point B. So it is collectively.
The one is not helping.
I don't have to run.
Number 1 is not helping. Number 3.
Yeah, it's not helping. But that's the question.
Each one is individual.
Each one is itself. That's the question. Do I look at it collectively because I want to get from point A to point B? Or no, you don't look at it as combing your hair. Combing your hair, if you just comb partially, you didn't do it. Also, a svara that I kind of want to say to be mechalik, which I'm not sure it's so clear the chalik. In the case of psila,
sorry, but the same. If anything, the lashon of the Mishnah Berurah is even more common here with grass. Whereas with Piyat Tabat, he said karov levadai. Here he says vadai.
Yeah, so it could be that's it's the same. The hair could be.
It's even more common.
Yeah, but so the hair could mean each step is a vadai.
Right.
There's not that means collectively, but at psila, the Mishnah Berurah definitely says collectively. But psila, and then you can say the same thing as the hair. Because I can't stick it at once because I want to accomplish what I want to do. If I'm sticking the psila because it helps to use the bathroom, you stick it at once, you won't accomplish anything. You stick it in and out a few times, then the whole collective maisa is what you're trying to accomplish. So that's a chiluk achreinu want to give. It's hard to be a mechalik like that. The Seif from Shlomo Zalman, I saw it being down the notes here also. They gave a clear answer about it. But definitely, if what you're doing is, for example, combing here, or the piyat tabas, where part of one stroke is not what I'm trying to accomplish. I'm trying to accomplish to get my hair combed, which is a bunch of strokes together. There, you definitely should be machmir, and even though it's not a psik ratio, that you'll end up pulling out hair each stroke, but collectively, you'll definitely pull out that it's usher. When it comes time to running on grass, there's a big mashal in the achreinim, running on grass, if it's usher or not.
We say also there's a thing about your hair or whatever is tangled. So it's already from the beginning it's not knotted but it's tangled. So
the question
there's actually more of a
each stroke or collectively.
Well, collectively, but because it's tangled.
No, it's a vadai. So here's also a vadai collectively. We're talking about it's a vadai collectively.
Right.
If it's not a vadai collectively, then for sure it's not a situation.
Then I discussed that running is more force than walking. If you're running you're going to be pushing a lot harder on the
right, so running is worse. If you walk slowly, it's okay. Yeah, walk slowly. It says only Meheira. If you run quickly.
The way you extract it is kalachayad. It's not.
Yeah. So the also person they want to say that bechlal running on grass it could be mekel because kalachayad, and you don't want to really. The other hatarim, the Mishnah doesn't bring those hatarim, but the other achreinim today want to use that hatarim that you don't. That it's kalachayad. You're not pulling it out directly. So the other hatarim. That's only by running on grass. Like combing here, you don't have that. Anytime there's a situation collectively, then it could be you have to be careful.
So when you said combing hair, you said hard brush versus soft brush.
Yeah.
So could it be similar with the grass? Maybe the kind of shoes you're wearing.
Yeah, definitely. You have to, the only time that it's sad that it's usher is if you're doing it and you know for sure it's impossible that when you finish doing this act collectively, that it's for sure going to pull out grass or pull out hair. If you're using a soft brush or you're running on grass and you're not wearing soft shoes, and lav dafka when you run through it, you're for sure going to pull out grass, then it's definitely mutter. Because it's not even a collective situation. Even collectively, you're not sure you're going to pull out grass or hair. We're talking about only in a case where you know for sure, collectively, you're going to end up pulling out grass or hair. That's the shiloh.
The shiloh came up a few years ago with the light switch, with the poskim were debating this exact point. The electric light switch for Shabbos.
Yeah.
A laser beam goes out, timed, let's say, 20 times per second.
Right.
But each time it goes, it doesn't turn the light on. But you know that in a span of 8 seconds, randomly, that beam is going to hit and will turn the light on. So is that considered the shiloh here? That's what they wanted to say. What
was the case again? You press the what? You
push a light switch.
Once.
You push a light switch on, right? Yeah. It starts a sequence in which a light beam, right, starts shooting, and if it hits another point, right, then it will turn on the light mechanism.
Okay? It's random.
It's a random event.
Okay.
And it's going to be that if you wait 8 seconds, it'll have shot enough time that it will do. So it's exactly the shiloh.
No, it's not.
It's not, but that's what the debate was.
I'll tell you what, it's much worse. I'll tell you it's much worse over there. I'll tell you why. Okay? It's much worse over there. The way you explain it to me, you push the button once, and the reaction is that it's going to send off 10 beams.
And one of them
is going to hit it.
Right. Yeah, the beam is always going, though. The beam is always going, I think, randomly. You just allow it to hit the place.
Correct.
Okay, but do you allow it?
Like you cause the beam.
You remove the blockage of the beam.
Okay, so you're moving the blockage of the beam, and then you know for sure that soon it's going to. So you're removing the blockage.
But each time it doesn't.
Right. Collectively, of 10 things, it's going to turn on the light. Right. So you want to say similar to this case?
I think that's what the debate.
I can tell you it's not similar to this case. I'll tell you why. Because in the case that we're talking about, what am I doing? I'm stroking 10 times, right? I'm doing 10 actions of a stroke. There, it's a bigger chiddush that collectively, if you look at it, you're sure going to pull something out. Because I have 10 separate actions, I'm putting my actions together.
It's progressive. It's like progressive.
Not even progressive. It's 10 separate actions. One of my actions, I'm going to end up pulling out the hair for sure. The chiddush is, we look at it collectively because you want to get the hair combed. So that's the chiddush. We look at it, you take the 10 actions and you put them together. Right? That's here. In that case, you did one action. You throw something on Shabbos, right? Or I'll give you an example. You cook on Shabbos, right? You put a pot on the fire, you turn on the fire, and you put the pot on, and now it cooks. So how do you look at it? Anything that's happening now, the whole cooking, is your action. Now what did you do? You did one action. You put the pot on the fire. Everything that happens then, afterwards, is your action of just putting the pot on the fire. You did one action. Here also. And if I would do 10 collective actions, if I push it 10 times, and it's randomly one time it's going to do it, that will be better. But if you push it once, and that makes it go 10 times, so it's all in your one ma'aseh. It's all in one ma'aseh that you did. That one ma'aseh is a separation. Here we're saying, I'm taking 10 ma'aseh together, and I'm putting them together. That's a big chiddush. That is awesome. There, it's much more awesome, because it's all collectively in one action that you did. And we look at the action of the pushing of the switch. It's much, much worse. You find a lot of halacha Shabbos that when I do something, we look at my action that I did now, whatever it causes later on is part of my action now. The famous case is when you put a pot on the fire. So we spoke about this once. 10 minutes before the Siman. And you know for sure, this food is not going to get cooked on Shabbos. It's going to cook Motzei Shabbos. I meant the Siman Motzei Shabbos. Not the Erev Shabbos. You take a pot, you put it on the fire, 10 minutes before the Siman Motzei Shabbos. This food is not going to cook on Shabbos. It's going to cook Motzei Shabbos. Are you chayiv or are you potter? It didn't cook on Shabbos. It cooked after Shabbos.
But
so why are you chayiv?
When
a corona.
What's the groma? It's cooked after Shabbos.
Yeah, but you start.
I put on the pot now, but nothing happened on Shabbos.
But do you look at the Maisa, or do you look at...
So, say that for him. You don't look at it when it cooks. Anything that comes out, that's cooked even later on, it's all connected to your one Maisa that you did on Shabbos. So it's like you cooked on Shabbos. Because everything that happens later on, we take it afterwards and we put it into that one Maisa.
So it's the same idea. If you were to put a pot like on Friday night uncooked on fire, take it off 1 minute later, you still high. No? Nothing cooked.
No. It didn't cook. Why high?
But you put it on fire.
Yeah. So that I said before. No, that's what I'm saying. If you say it that way, then it wouldn't be true that everything is connected to my Maisa. No, if you take it off the fire, of course you pot it. It didn't cook.
But it's
not the action of putting it on the fire that's mechayiv you. It's the cooking that's mechayiv you. Why the cooking happened an hour later? The cooking happened an hour later, so why am I chayiv? It tells you to take the whole action that happened later on, and we put it into your Maisa, what you did.
The starting Maisa.
Anyway,
because if you put it...
His example's not good anyway, because the thing of Friday night, putting it on, you had was survivor. It's not even a bishul. It's...
No, that's what the fire's on. Fire's on, you just put the pot on. You just put the pot. So you put the pot of uncooked food on the fire Friday night, and you take it off, nothing happened. It didn't cook. When it cooks later on Friday night, what are you chayiv for? Everything gets put into your Maisa of cooking fire. An example they give is, if someone puts something on the fire Friday night, right? Rahman al-Slamit drops dead 2 seconds later, and it cooks after he dies. Is he chayiv? Right? It doesn't happen again. Is he chayiv?
The Medisa person in the Gemara.
The Medisa person take it off in the potter. The person will not take it off because it's a Maisa, it's a Malacha. But all we see here is, anyways.
What was his intention?
Go and ask him.
But what I want to bring from here is that even though my Maisa happened now, and the reaction happens later on, and the cooking happens an hour later, doesn't make a difference. Everything that happens later on, look at it as if you pull it back, and we connect it to that one Maisa that you did. So the same thing here. If I push the button on the switch, and it sends out 10 things, I didn't do 10 Maisa. Everything that happens later on, I connected to the one Maisa pushing the light switch. Over here, by combing and by running on the grass, the chiddush is I'm taking 10 Maisim, 10 different actions that I'm doing, and I'm putting them together, and I'm making a psik ratio. That's why it's different. That's why there it's much worse.
So then again, back to your example, what about if I put it on the oven stove on Friday before Shabbos, but it's clearly cooking on Shabbos?
Doesn't you put it? Because you put it on before Shabbos.
Right.
Everything is connected to the Maisa from before Shabbos.
It must be cooked. You cannot cook.
Yeah, that's a chia. We're not talking about chia and very good bone. It's a deraisa. Yeah, everything is connected to your Maisa. It comes up tons of times, not just in Hilchah Shabbos.
We just had the example of climbing the tree. If you climb the tree Erev Shabbos.
Yeah.
So we said if you climb Erev Shabbos.
No, but they could just stuck in the tree. It's a new Maisa. In all those cases, they're still doing something like sitting in the tree, you want to come down the tree. We're talking about a case where whatever you did, you're done with it. You're walking away, you have no shaykhs to it anymore. Right? But someone kills somebody, throws an arrow, right? And also, they speak about that crime. Same as that case. Someone shoots an arrow, and he gets killed before his arrow kills somebody else. Is he chayiv? They do something wrong, they kill somebody? So they say, yeah. So even though he was dead already when the other guy got killed, but everything is connected to your Maisa of throwing of the arrow. That's your Maisa. Everything that happens afterwards we put into your Maisa. It's inside. It's good to know it. It comes up a lot.
Then why aren't you over on bishul until you either get to makol ben soy or you get until it's actually...
It never happened. It has to be cooked at the end. It has to get cooked. If it doesn't get cooked, then you pop it.
So when it...
If it doesn't get cooked, you pop it. It has to get cooked. As you were saying before, you put it on the pot, you should be chayav to take it off. No. It has to get cooked. But once it gets cooked, what am I chayav for? Right, I'm not chayav for the minute it gets cooked then. I'm chayav for my action that I did 10 minutes ago. Why? Because every outcome of my meister we pull back and we put it into my action that I did originally.
So if somebody wasn't by mitzvah, you put it on the fire, and then you came by mitzvah,
right.
It was suddenly cooked. Then you
same thing, it's a cotton.
Same thing,
yeah. It's a cotton, and then it's same idea. Same idea, yeah. All these things. All these things are the same. It's all things that the action that you did, you finished with. If you're continuing to do something, that's something else. This is a case where you did something and then it's done. You don't do anything else.
But it's influenced if the second person gets involved. Let's say the second person does the example it's given is the person who pushes the person off a roof. Right? As the person is coming down,
somebody else takes
someone kills him.
Right. So you didn't end up killing him.
Sorry?
So the first A didn't end up killing him. B ended up killing him. That's what A is positive.
So you're going to look right. So there you say you don't look at the original act. You
would, but it didn't end up happening through him.
Guy's dead.
But not through him. Not through A. Through B.
Because the halacha is in B. That B is chayav.
B is chayav because A didn't end up killing him. Even though you put everything back in the original ma'aser, but the outcome has to happen. It has to get killed because of my action. If it's not killed because of my action, I'm not chayav. B ended up killing him, not A. That's what A is potter. That's what A is potter. Okay. Now this is sorry, it's good to know. Fine. So that is this halacha here of a collective segresha. If you chayiv or not by collective segresha. I remember there used to be a shiloh also. You pull out when you dry your hands, you pull out the paper towels. Oh, yeah. So come out every time when you pull it out, you rip the paper towels. So you have to be careful because when you pull out one, it could be it's going to come out whole. But you always need 2 or 3 paper towels to dry your hands. And by 2 or 3, you're always going to end up ripping a paper towel. So you have to worry about it or not. So the child doesn't start really because that ripping is not for ripping. That's not a problem. It's not a calco. It's not a problem. But if it would be a shiloh, that would be the shiloh. Collective segregation. A collective ma'aser to make a segregation.
So does that mean there's a machlokes in the poskim in terms of how to look at a straight, whether you have 10 times? In other words, these are all individual cases, but in terms of the principle of segregation, does it have to be that each one?
Right. So that's why.
Or is that a machlokes?
So basically, if you need all the actions to get where you want to get to, most of the places are asur. For example, combing your hair, you can't leave your hair halfway combed. Then most of the places are going to asur it and say a collective segregation is a problem. In a case like grass, for some reason it's called, I don't need to hold the action. I can stop in the middle when I'm walking. Then already it could be some machlokes. But if you need all of it together, for example, the hair or the psila, where you're sticking in and you're definitely going to pull out some hair along the way, there, since you need the full action, but ma'aser we are machmir in such a situation. We are machmir in the collective situation in a case where you need the whole action to be done. In a case where you don't need the whole action to be done, like the top and middle, then already there's mokum l'hakom. Okay. Fine. Right there in the Seif Gimel. So that is walking on grass, but mekel, because it's ain't mischaven, and it's not the short that you're going to pull out grass. They were talking about short grass, where even collectively, you won't end up pulling out any grass. People who are eating in gardens, asurim litol yedayim al asavim. You're not going to wash your hands, and the water should go on the grass. Shemashkim oisam afapi she'enon mechavnim psigreshu. It's a psigreshu. If you're washing your hands on the grass, now I'm not mechavin. I don't have a mind to water the grass, but it's a psigreshu. You're washing your hands, the water is going on the grass, and it's for sure going to help the grass grow. So therefore, it's a psigreshu and it's awesome.
If it rains, immediately before.
So there, the child in the first came, the big child is with the shlaks. You open up your shlak and water goes down, ends up in the grass. So if it's a psik ratio, there's a makam lahachmir. But some parts can want to say if it rained beforehand and the ground is so saturated from water, so you're not helping anything. Maybe it's making it worse. So therefore it's mutter. Maybe we're talking about in the case where it's not saturated from water, it could use water, you wash your hands on grass, it's a psik ratio, even though you're not mechaven. Even though you're not mechaven to water the grass, it's a psik ratio that it's going to help the grass grow. Says the Mogen Avram over here, Shemashke ma'isai, sifkat and hay, v'mashke mayim l'zroim, someone who pours water onto the seeds, chayim mishum chayrish mishum zereya, is chayim because of planting and because of plowing. Plowing is, you make the ground easier to plant. So if you make the ground wet, so it makes it easier to plant. Zereya, if the seeds there ready, they're helping them grow. Psik ratio, if someone eats in his friend's garden, yesh matirim, k'mashikosav Seif Siman Shinchaf, kivin d'loinichlei. So there's a Gemara in Shabbos of Kov that the whole din of psik ratio is that when you're doing something in your own field, then it's a psik ratio the nichelei. You want it. But then you have something called psik ratio the loy nichelei or loy ichbeslei. We looked about it in Shimon Shinchaf, a psik ratio that you don't care about. Now in my field, I'm watering my grass, I want my grass to grow. If I'm in your field, I don't care if the grass grows. The other doesn't. I'm not such a nice guy. I don't care. So the Gemara says that's called a psik ratio de la nichelei. So there could be its mutter. So therefore the Mogen Avram says over here, the Ma'achav beginners kavere yeshvatir k'mashikosav Seif Siman Shinchaf kivin de la nichelei, since he doesn't want it. Now we learned at Siman Shinchaf we're machmir even in a psik ratio de la nichelei. Even if psik ratio de la nichelei, not even the ichbeslei. There's different levels. We said then ichbeslei means you don't care. The nichelei means you don't want it. You don't want it. Even if it's la nichelei, even if you don't want it, still we're machmir. So anyway, we're going to be machmir. Seif as a chaynis of non-ches kosav dafka beginnes akwa mina la nichelei. For the mashmir came by Gemara the min the abed the ara the kavrei. The Seif as a chaynis was a rishonim. It seemed like his Amos Yisrael was great, and he loved all Jews. So he says, how is it possible that if I'm pouring water on your grass, I don't care, of course I want it. I want your grass to grow as much as my grass to grow. So how can you say, if you're doing it by a different Jew's grass, it's like ichbeslei? So you want to say, the Gemara means only by a goy. If you're doing it for a goy's grass, then you could say you don't care if it grows. But for another yidin and say you don't care, chas v'shalom, and therefore the Christ wanted to say it's only by a goy. The Ma'aser says the Mogen Avram from the Gemara is mashma, even ginas chaveira is called loy ichbeslei, and for us anyway it doesn't make a difference because we're mashma even by a psik ratio de la nichelei. So therefore you have to be very careful if you eat in the gardens not to pour water, because then it's also out of psik ratio.
Sukkahs would be an issue if you had.
Sukkah is a big issue. Sukkah is a big issue. If you make a sukkah by the grass, it's a big problem. You have to be very careful with these things. Pouring water on grass is a deraisa. It's a psik ratio, and it's a deraisa, pouring water. But urine is mutter to pour onto the grass. Other things that don't help it grow. So things that don't help it grow is mutter. You pour wine onto the grass, you have to be careful because it doesn't help it grow. Says do not eat in gardens. It's very hard to make sure that no water spills. Now,
use a kli.
Yeah, if you use a kli, that doesn't fall in there. But it's interesting. The Mogen Avram says the water shouldn't fall there. Now, the truth is,
Is this a collective situation?
No. This is pouring the water. It's a real situation.
No, but I'm saying is the fact that you're choshesh that somebody's going to pour.
Yeah, so it's interesting, the loss of the Magen Avram, I saw someone's medayik it, and there's a rule, the Edward Tal speaks about it. What does it mean? It's kosher l'zor shel yipol shamayim. The halacha we said till now was that you're not allowed to pour water, washing your hands. You're not allowed to wash your hands over grass because the secretion you're going to make it grow. Let's say I'm not pouring water, I'm not washing my hands. I'm sitting by the table, I'm eating, and the water by mistake knocks over, and it pours onto the grass. Do you have to be machmir not to eat it because it may by mistake knock over water and pour onto the grass?
Rama seems to be saying that.
Right. So what do I have to do? If I'm not mechaven to knock over the water, I'm not mechaven for it.
No, but you're creating a massive where it's almost inevitable some water.
So the Eglet Tal is bothered by his kasha, and he says that since every time you sit there, it's almost inevitable that you're not going to pour water onto the grass, therefore you have to be careful. It's a chiddush. Because I don't have a mind to do it. I made a mistake, pour water, or knock over water. Still, it's a chumah shaloi yiplu. It doesn't say shaloi that you should, because you're automatically going to pour water there. Shaloi yiplu means it may happen. Still, the Ramah is machmir. It's a chiddush of the Ramah. If you look in the Magen Avram or Shah Mashkin, v'roy lizard af b'mashkin. It says you should be careful, even with mashkin, they shouldn't pour it onto the grass, because other mashkin sometimes also helps the grass grow. Now it's interesting, if you look in the Bir Halacha, the Mechaber says, Meira Glayim, you're not allowed to pour because it doesn't help it grow. And we know that today's fertilizer could come from there. Today's fertilizer helps grow. Yes. So he says over here, the Mishmur says, if you look at the Bir Halacha, and the last few lines on 360, the last few lines on the end of the page, the Ramatzcha Oisha Mashkin, all the way at the end, it says V'dah. The last two lines, you see V'dah, the Seif Tzferis Yisrael. He writes Kosav, the V'chochmas Economia, I'm not sure what that is, of the image economics, because we're not talking about science, but he says, Amru, Shemeira Glayim Heim Toivim Ma'oid L'Zevel HaKarka. Meira Glayim is good. It helps to fertilize the grass.
We say that every day.
It's not for grass.
Yeah.
That's by the Samanim. He says Im Kain Mizavel Taydis Chayeshu Adkan L'Shayni. So Tferes Yisrael says that Meira Glayim is more of a reason to aser than water, because it helps. It helps to fertilize. It says the Be'alacha B'loi Noagu Ha'olam B'zar B'zeh Klal. The other is not careful with this, and the Minhag Olam is not to worry about Meira Glayim. The Gaber Shabbos Pe'al from the base Muchach Shalok Dvorov La'i Efshel L'Gdolim B'loi Ktanim L'Dvorov Ha'yosad Gam L'Fanes Al Stay Near B'Shabbos. Gemara speaks about using the bathroom or stay near. Now, Gemara is talking about Gedolim, but every time you go Gedolim, you always have Ktanim also. Just have Meira Glayim. Mashma, that there's a Gemara that's not a problem. The question is, today we know that Meira Glayim fertilizes. Definitely Gedolim fertilizes. So why is it made? I'm not sure what Allah should be today. Today it should be makbid. Meira Glayim could be worse.
It says, the Yapo is spoiling.
That was but that wasn't Karka. That wasn't Karka. Yeah, that was the Siman.
It's interesting because even though today these men say you have clear evidence, but it says well not
right. That's what he means. That was Amnoyik. Master today we know that mamish is manure is what fertilizes.
But today it would be very unusual for a person to relieve themselves outside.
Usually, I mean, you have sometimes you're walking with kids on a long walk, right?
Well, the kids now they're under the mitzvah.
Yeah.
But there it was probably a necessity.
There was a necessity, yes. They did it that way, yeah. Okay, I don't know what the halacha is, or if it's a problem on grass or not. But someone should be machmer. Okay, Siv Dalid. Yeshli Zoher Milahashlich Zroim B'mokam Yevidas Keshamin. You shouldn't throw seeds in a place where it rained. Sheseifam L'Hatzmiach. At the end, they're going to end up growing. So you dump seeds in a place where it's wet, they'll end up taking root, and it's a problem. Yashlich Atanagolim. You're throwing it for chickens. Only give them to eat today or the yamayim. If you're giving it tanagolim and then you know for sure they're going to finish all the seeds today, then it's mutter. Or if you put it in a place where people walk and they're going to step on it, and they step on it and it ends up ruining it, also it's mutter because it's not going to end up growing.
So the practical example here is eating garinim on Shabbos when you walk in.
Yeah, but garinim usually you only spit out the shells, not the. And usually it's by bus stops, so there's no grass.
May I climb the winter time?
Nobody in Israel.
It's not, yeah, it's been fun. Yeah,
nobody in Israel. Put it anyway.
Seif, hey. If you have grass that grows on oizen hakli, on the handle of a kli, the lachos hakli, which is like a moss that grows on the kelim, chashuvim k'mechabarim l'karka, v'altoshon chayiv. Very important halacha. It's a deraisa. You have mold growing on something, on a kli, or mushrooms. Not mechabar l'karka. Mushrooms growing on kelim. It's also with the raisa to take it off. Atolshon chayiv. Why is it chayiv? Says the Magen Avraham. Atolshon chayiv. V'loidami la'atzet she'enei nakuv. V'atoylu shemen l'pater. D'hasan ein derech zmiya sham. We'll see soon in the next sifin that atzet she'enei nakuv means a flower pot. A flower pot which has no holes. Yeah, has no holes, so it's not being yonik, it's not getting nutrition from the ground. Yeah. Still, it's mutter to take off, it's not mutter, it's not chayiv. It's also the rabbanon. But it's not issa deraisa to pull off a flower. Why not? It's growing there, it's growing in the earth. So that we say is not chayiv, it's not also deraisa, only with the rabbanon. But here, something that grows on a kli, what do we say? It's a chayiv. The rice to pull it off. What's the difference? So it says the Magen Avraham, and the Taz says the same thing over here, is that here it's derech gedelusam. That's where it's supposed to grow. If that's where it's supposed to grow, you're taking off from the mokum that it's supposed to grow, it's an issa deraisa. A flower pot is not a place where flowers grow. They're meant to grow in the ground. You happen to take some earth together in a pot and put it in the pot. Therefore, it's not a chiyuv deraisa to take it out from there, only it's a derabanan, because it's not the regular place where flowers grow. Right? The Taz of Cotton Zion says the same thing.
So greenhouse is not actually considered.
No, greenhouse could be, that's where it grows.
But I think the Rebbe said mold, but do you mean moss?
Moss, yeah. Mold, mold, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Mold is different.
Mold could be different.
Yeah, but mold is what if it's on your food, on a piece of bread.
Right. And you take it from the restaurant, right?
Yeah, from the restaurant. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, when you cut it off, anyway, you cut it off part of the cheese.
But could you clean it off then?
Could you clean it off?
Yeah.
It sounds like yes, but I'm not 100% sure. Because I don't know if that's called it sounds like a southern. Right.
Roots that dig in.
Yeah, but neither does moss have roots that dig in. Has roots that dig into the kli?
Yeah.
Doesn't dig into the kli.
I think it does.
No, how could it take roots in the kli?
They have small roots that grow in.
But you clean it off. But you clean off the kli.
You have to pull it out. I think it attaches itself like that.
Onto the kli?
What's that into?
It attaches itself to the kli. I don't know. I'm not sure. They don't say, this is not mold. Perhaps you're right. The mold should be mutter. I don't know if mold is called the same thing as moss. But mushrooms you have it all the time. Mushrooms grow, moss grow, even on houses. There are a lot of moss growing on houses. So this is the rice, the poison, that's called the ivies that grow on the side of the house. Right? It's an issa deraisa.
They grow actually from the ground. You think it isn't? Yes.
No, but if it attaches itself to the house,
right?
It attaches.
I don't know if you're pulling off. That's just mocking the do.
I mean, it may be long, but it still goes right up.
Yeah, but I'm not taking anything out. I'm just pulling it off the house. I'm just pulling it off the house. Am I allowed to do that? It's also that's mocking gedula. That's where it grows. So it's also. Anything that's where it grows, also to take it off.
You are, because you should put it off. It attaches itself to the house, the brick, but it's still coming to the ground. I mean, otherwise, if you cut it off on the ground.
The answer is the moss does not have roots. They have root-like growths called rhizoids that help anchor them.
Okay, so
they do dig in. They have little things that dig in, but they're not technically called roots. They're called rhizoids.
So that is like how ivy growing on the side of the house.
Yeah, ivy growing on the side of the house is the same thing.
They into your brick.
Mold, I'm not sure about. Okay, Seif Vov. A suburb to top form by offer the boy join. Took grass and he put it into ground, the boy join. They shiyu lachim to keep it moist. Mutter lachais ba'alim v'loitzian. You're allowed to pull it out. Even though you stuck it into the ground to keep it wet, you're allowed to pull them out on Shabbos. It didn't take root. You don't want to take root. If you had a mind to plant it there, but it's also to take it out on Shabbos.
What is the separation here?
Separation for what?
I mean, Maris Ayin.
Maris Ayin on what?
These ones I can take out, these ones I can't take out. I see somebody pulling herbs out of the ground, out of the pot.
I'm not sure if it was a Maris Ayin. It was a Maris Ayin. I'm not sure it was a Maris Ayin. Saying this person who had a mind to plant it, he can't take it out. The person who didn't have a mind to plant it, he's allowed to take it out. So the person who planted it will think it's mutter to take it out. Okay, I'm not sure. I'm not sure when we say Maris Ayin or we don't say Maris Ayin. So here it'll be mutter to pull it out, even though you put it in to keep it wet. So if you look in Seif column above, in the Mishnah Berurah over here, Keshiyu Lachim, Tiganei Sobim, Shehem, Noim, that they're nice, Lamare, Volariach, and to smell them, Umamalin Kad Offer Lach, V'toichmen Oisev V'toichoi. V'huadin, V'toichmen V'karka, Kivish, Einem V'chaven, Sheishtar Shusham. Since you don't have a mind, that you take root over there.
Right.
This is regular flowers.
Yeah.
Put flowers. Some people put flowers into water for sure, or into a pot with some dirt inside, and it doesn't take root there. You're allowed to put it on Shabbos. Don't listen. It's not muksa.
And you have to put it in on Shabbos.
Yeah.
You're allowed to put it back in on Shabbos also.
Put it in.
So we'll see soon. We'll see soon. We'll see it's in Seif. It's later on the Siman. It's Seif Yud Aleph. We get into the details about taking flowers and putting them into water, taking them out of water. We'll get to that Seif Yud Aleph. So we should put it into water first time in the allowed.
We'll do something here, for example, for food, like if you have. When actually talk about a southern food, they talk about, let's say, for example, you have nano oil, something mint or something which you want to.
Yeah, even that, even for food.
I mean, but that's something that we talk about here. It's not for noise. It's both.
Even the Mishnah says we're talking about noise here, but it's anything. Even if you're keeping something in the ground to keep it fresh.
Right.
But you don't want it to take root to grow.
Right.
You're allowed to pull them out on Shabbos. You're allowed to pull them out on Shabbos. Okay, Seif Zayin. Also, litloish, now that I pull off, afilu me'otzitz she'enoi nokov. Now that I pull something out, even from a otzitz, a flower pot that has no holes in it, and it's not attached to the ground, still, you're not allowed to pull it out. So this is the Rabbanon over here, like we said before. If you look at the Magen Avraham, Seif Cotton Test, Also, litlash for Yeshemed Bishul Eitz Chayiv Chatos Ubecherev Potter. Some people hold if it's a wooden kli, it's Chayiv Chatos because why? Because it does get unika, it does get nourishment through the kli itself. The koich of the karka could push it through the kli eitz, a wooden kli, and you get nourishment from the kli. And some say the opposite. Yeshem Ibcha that a kli cheres, even through the kli itself, it could be yoinik. Ayin b'chashemish b'tzemesh beis tafilu munach ba'aliyah also litlash v'menu. Even if it's in the second floor, so what are you worried about? It's not being yoinik from the ground. So it's also to retilish from a otter she'ein nakum midrabanan. It's also midrabanan.
Once it has a nakum in it, it doesn't matter where it is. On a table, in the aliyah, it still makes it do anything.
Once it
has a nakum in it.
Yeah, that's a chiddush. That's a chiddush. Otter nakum, even though it's in the second floor. See, so it's a nicer. Still gets unika
from the air.
Somehow it gets unika.
Right. We said that connects it somehow into the...
Right, but it has to be from the bottom. In other words, all flower pots are open on top.
Right.
It has to be from the bottom it gets the unika.
I mean, it talks about Tumas Eretz Yisrael, Tumas Amen, right? Those if you have the...
Yeah. Also.
Right?
Also, same halacha, it's correct. Same halacha, it's correct. Correct. It gets the unika, even if it's higher up. Seif Ches, Otus, Afilu, Eine Nakav Yeshli Zor, Melitlen al Gaber Karka, but Nichal Gaber Yesedos. Even though it's Otus Eine Nakav, you shouldn't take it from the ground and put it on pole, on sticks, because you're taking away some of the unika from it. By Ibcho, the opposite, Bein Shul Eitz, Bein Shul Cheres. Even whether it's wood or whether it's Cheres, it's always Osir.
So here the issue is regarding Talisha. I mean, there's no muktzah. It's not, obviously.
No, maybe if you can't move it, it'll become muktzah. But here's not muktzah. No, it's a muktzah. It's good Talisha.
Right. And clearly,
right.
The whole idea of let's say you have a pot with a flower inside it, you want to move it from one place to the other for space for Shabbos.
Right. So did I do that?
I mean, I'm asking, and we're going to learn it out.
So now we're saying over here, if it has a pot with flowers, definitely you can move. There's no unique in it.
A plant, yes.
A plant is different. A plant is a flower pot, a plant is different. The flowers in water. Flowers in water not getting any unique from the ground.
No.
Flowers in water get no unique from the ground. They don't get any nourishment from the ground. Otzits, if you have dirt in it, that's a whole different child. A flower pot is not a move from a flower pot, a vase. We use it in vase and pot. A vase is not a move from the ground to higher level, no problem.
There's no Talisha, but
no Talisha, no muktzah either, you don't move it. See later on, there's no muktzah on flowers, cut flowers. Once we're talking about a pot that has in it earth, there it's a bigger problem. There, otzitz she'enei nakav, we see here in the Mishnah Berurah says, if you look at the Mishnah Berurah over here, Mem Beis she'enei nakav, aber mei otzitz nakav chiyuva nami yesh bezeh. If we say yoinik min hakarka al yedei hanekev, shemeriach lachluches hakarka derech sham, vafilim hoyem nekev koten kol kach, shebechdei sheyatzer menu shorish koten, shepokas mikazayis, it's still a problem. So otzitz nakav could be an issa deraisa to move it from one place to the next.
But it's interesting, he doesn't talk about muktzah.
No, that's right. So I'll get the muktzah in a second. He's talking about moving it from one place to the next, from the ground to you say this will be a tlisha. You're going to be cutting off some of its unika from the pot.
I don't understand. I understand the concept. Well, I don't, but we accept the concept that an otzitz nakav has the unika from the air.
Right.
By me moving it from place to place, it's still going to have the same unika.
No. The closer it is to the ground, the more unika it has.
So let's say I leave it on the same floor.
So that's the question. That's what I want to get to. Here it says, ha'otzitz she'enei nakav, even ha'otzitz she'enei nakav now moves from the ground to al-gabi yiseidus.
So it seems to be telling the avir.
Yes, so it says over here from the ground to al-gabi yiseidus. You're not allowed to move it. Ha'otzitz she'enei nakav is the issa d'rabbanan maybe. V'zera. Ha'otzitz nakav can be the chiyuv d'oraisa. So if you have a flower pot that has holes in the bottom, you want to move it from the ground and put it higher up, it could be issa d'oraisa. If you're moving it without holes in the bottom, it's an issa d'rabbanan. But no one speaks here about muktzah. Once now that I move it, so the whole thing should be moved. So there's a Tila David here that says, Mr. Brew doesn't bring it down, but there's a Tila David that says, if you look at the Mr. Brew over here, Seif Cotton Mem Daled. It's a very important halacha because it comes up a lot with moving flower pots, moving plants. So Mr. Brew says over here, Gabi Yiseides, so it's Leiman Afshe Einem Mafsik, Shum Dover Bein Otis La Karka, but even though when you're moving a Gabi Yiseides, there's nothing under it between the pot and the ground. So it's awesome. To show you now, I'll take it and put it on top of a counter, because I have something under it. But even if you're moving it from the ground to the Yiseides, to poles, where you didn't change any Yanika, it's only the height, it's still awesome. But Koshka Amidi Agabi Eitzim Agabi Begodim Yeshbezeh Sura, the Moisa came out, it's not going to be Yeshbezeh Tlisha V'Natim and Atayro. V'Aken Yeshbezor Ma'oid B'Kli Im Isvei Boisim Sherogo Lias B'Bayis should be careful not to move it from the ground and to put it on top of a counter. Now, Pashas here is mashma. We're talking about it was by the ground, but if it's in it's not on the ground. If it's in your house on a cement floor. So what am I doing? I'm moving it from a cement floor to a countertop. What do I do? For some reason, the person still asks it to move it from the floor.
It's maybe a gzeira.
I don't know if it's a gzeira. I should have checked into it before the share. I'll check into it. We'll speak about it next week, Sunday. But if I remember correctly, a lot of places will say, even though the halacha is mashma, it's a gabi karka, to taking it from the ground to higher level. There it's also, because it was mamash on the ground. But let's say it's not ground. Let's say it's cement, where there's no yanika. It should be mutter legamri. But if I remember correctly, the person was still asrit, and I have to check into it. I should check into it before.
And if you move it along.
So the Tziel David says, even if it's a gabi karka, if I'm not moving it from the karka to, you say this, I'm just moving it on the ground, I'm picking it up a drop, and moving it to a different area, says the Tziel David it's mutter. Because then you're not taking away the unika really. You're just picking up a drop and moving it over, it's mutter. If you're putting it higher, it's awesome. If I'm moving it a little bit, it's mutter.
Do I have to worry that if I'm moving into a sunny area or not? Even though
we'll get to that next week. Moving plants, opening the windows and shades and let the sun come in. We'll get to that next week.
I'm not being discovered.
We'll get to that next week. But here, when again moving a pot, let's say even in our houses, it's also to move it from the ground to a higher level, but to move it the same level, to move it out of the way, that should be mutter. That is mutter according to the Davar, it should be mutter. So it's not awesome.
They are hefsek by moving.
No, so the Davar says that's not really called a hefsek, and it's mutter to move it on the same level. Now, I have to check it up. We'll speak about it next week. In our houses, if you're allowed to move a flower pot from the ground and put it up on something higher, it could be it's mutter today. Because it's not a gabakaka. Anyway, it's a cement floor.
And there's no issue of mukta?
No, so there won't be an issue of mukta, because once you're allowed to move it, there's no issue of mukta. Once you're allowed to move it, there's no issue of mukta. The only question is, if you wouldn't be allowed to move it...
And the issue of there's no shema yitla if you don't have this whole...
No, they didn't say it over here.
They didn't go that far.
They didn't say Taylor shit, only said...
We saw it when the Rishonim said that it includes all of them, right?
If there's fruit here, here, you got questions you're going to pull off the leaf.
Well, sometimes they have like a flower that could fall off or something.
Yeah, that's not a problem. They don't want it to fall off. Next week, I'll tell you about this in our house this week.